Very Bad Wizards is a podcast with a philosopher, my dad, and a psychologist, Dave Pizarro, having an informal discussion about issues in science and ethics. Please note that the discussion contains bad words that I'm not allowed to say, and knowing my dad, some very inappropriate jokes.
Do you know where dreams come from?
The great boss has spoken. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Who are you? Who are you? A very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Good man. They think deep thoughts, and with no more brains than you have.
Pay no attention to that man.
Anybody can have a brain.
You're a very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Just a very bad wizard.
Welcome to Very Bad Wizards. I'm Tamler Summers from the University of Houston. Dave, Sydney Sweeney's ad for American Eagle's jeans sparked a lot of controversy last week because apparently she wants to be taken seriously as an, and then the jeans, you know what? I don't have the heart to do this. Can you ask a question about this issue?
Okay, how about don't you think it's obvious that Sydney Sweeney should reproduce for the sake of all humans? Am I a eugenicist by thinking that some people should reproduce?
No, and not just reproduce with anyone. I actually don't even.
A blonde guy.
Do you even know about why this was controversial? I tried to ask Eliza, or Eliza tried to tell me about it, but I couldn't really follow it.
I've been kind of trying to be off of Twitter, but I came across just people saying that this was just shades of eugenics to say good genes, which was just a pun on the genes, obviously.
Right.
But that this is just distasteful.
And then of course you had people on the right saying woke is now officially dead or something like that. Because nobody ever had a hot woman advertising jeans before.
Whoever the ad executive who did this, worked. It worked.
Yeah. Hats off. Everyone is talking about American Eagle jeans for the first time in my lifetime. I never. I knew about the store. I guess I knew they did jeans, but that's it. And now, I almost was able to ask an opening question about it.
For the record, Sydney Sweeney is your girl. I'm just indifferent. I'm on the side of non-eugenics, so I guess I'm against.
In Eastbound and Down, there's ass men and there are.
Exactly.
You are the former. I am the latter.
Well, let's keep talking about sex.
Oh God, I think that's why I couldn't come up with the question, is because I was already upset and dreading our opening segment. But let's just say what the main segment is first, because that I am not dreading. I am super excited to talk about Martin McDonagh's debut movie In Bruges, which made it pretty far in our Patreon listener selected episode tournament, but didn't win.
True connoisseurs of listener selected episodes will always know that if they want a topic discussed right away,
yeah,
make sure it's not the number one.
Yeah, make sure it's it came in third or fourth or something like that, and then guaranteed to us to talk about it almost right away. Yeah. But what a movie. And it's a huge favorite of mine. I've watched it so many times, but actually watching it, knowing I was going to talk about it, made me appreciate it on a whole nother level. So
everybody should pretend at least that they're going to discuss a movie after they watch it, because it's
yes.
true. It really does change it. I've seen In Bruges maybe twice in my life, and watching it this time around, I was like, God, this is so good. So I'm excited about it.
It's really, I think it's also very deep in a lot of different ways and very philosophical. Speaking of philosophy,
I've never had you be so reluctant to have an opening segment that is so clearly something that was going to be, we're just going to talk about.
Yeah, so this is a blog on Justin Weinberg's Lighter Reports, like rival, he's like the Avis of philosophy blogs. This is a blog post to philosophers of easy virtue, written by Alex Rails is the pseudonym. It's a pseudonym, and it is about
coward
being a player.
Yes.
A strong player in philosophy. And honestly, like this was reading this. I didn't read it until today. I didn't want to do it like you, but then I couldn't come up with another opening, and I read it for the first time today. And I was just like, it's like seeing members of your family do something really embarrassing in public. Like I just, like, it's really hard for me. Like I don't mind.
It's like your cousin invites you to their one-man show.
Yeah, exactly.
At the local community theater.
Your 5-act interpretive dance.
You didn't mention Justin's blog, Daily News.
Yes.
But yeah, so apparently he's been taking guest posts. He says this is the 9th post in the 2025 summer guest post series.
No shade to Justin Weinberg. By the way.
Yeah. I mean, clearly it was a good move for him to publish this. Clearly we're talking about it. So.
It's like the American Eagle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, to philosophers of easy virtue. This is, applied philosophy, Tamler. I don't know what's so bad about it. This is applying virtue theory to the practice of having sex with fellow philosophers, fellow academic philosophers.
Yeah, there's one virtue about doing that, and it's not to talk about it, and for God's sakes, not to write about it. Like, I texted you today, what was it? Like, it should be illegal for philosophers to talk about sex. That's kind of how I feel about this. Like, this should actually be illegal. Yeah.
So it starts out with basically just accept that philosophers are banging each other. Some of us are secretly banging each other. You know who you are.
According to a poll on this site, many of us would prefer to date other philosophers! For this reason, the ideal amount of sex that should be had within the discipline is not 0. That right there, it's like, this is why under my regime, philosophers can't talk about sex. Like, it makes sex sound like something like completely unappealing.
So of the things that are objectionable about the way that this is being said, I just genuinely think it's weird to call it sex within the discipline. Like, I know that it's another philosopher or whatever, but like it's like, we're not all part of this. Like, it's such a weird way.
I know. No, totally. Sex within the discipline, it's true.
Within the discipline. And so admit that eroticism is part of your life. You are, if you are this kind of person, this person says, you are what I will call a player. I am a player too. Already the cringe levels.
The cringes.
I have played some great games. This is the part that was kind of crazy to me. So I've played some great games. Others ended quite badly. So far, I have filed 2 complaints for work-related sexual misconduct. One of my victims, quote unquote, was forced to give up their job due to games that involved me.
So if you wanted to moralize about this, which I feel no inclination to do just because I'm so like repelled by it in all sorts of other ways. But yeah, it's like, that's kind of unbelievable that she, by the way, are we agreed this is a woman writing it?
I would put money on it. I mean, they tried to make it not obvious. They say that they have sex with men and women, but the part that made me most convinced was when they described themselves as having it's easy for them to seduce others because of their smoky voice.
Yes.
And I don't think that that's a sexy trait in men.
So for as long as I could bear, which is for like 45 seconds or something, I went into the comments, and there's like almost 300 comments. And a lot of people were saying that the smoky voice made them think it was a guy. And I just don't understand that. Why, like, guys with smoky voices? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
And I think it has been settled on as a woman. People, also when she talks about so-called feminist allies in the profession. But it is kind of interesting that she just leads off saying that she's gotten like a bunch of people in trouble and one person fired for these fucking like intellectual sex games that she's playing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just say she for the sake of ease, because I also kind of agree that it's a she. Distinguishes the players. So, okay, like if you're one of these people who's having sex with other people in the field, you might distinguish between people who do it well and people who do it poorly. Let's call one strong players and one weak players, one group of people, admitting that there's a continuum. But she then describes what traits are necessary to be a strong player, and the part that I think both of us agree on, her description of weak players in academia,
yes.
like what they're like.
That's a genuine contribution, I think.
It is. So the one thing that I couldn't really get behind, I'm not a philosopher, but is that she really does seem to think or like make like philosophy and sex is this sort of like inextricably linked part of being a player, where it's like, no, you have this like crave for like intellectual stimulation and the sexual one, and they're like all part of the same thing. And I'm like, I don't like, leave your peanut butter out of my chocolate or whatever. Like, I don't think, I don't like the thought. But which also makes me kind of think that it's a woman for various reasons. But okay, so she says, being a skillful player. So basically you need to know how to do this. You need to know how to seduce other philosophers without causing trouble. So for instance, generally speaking, there's a quote, seducing up the hierarchy is safer than seducing down. But it's like, it's also not zero. Is it just obvious that who's doing the seducing and who's being seduced?
Right.
Because like presumably like the lower person down the hierarchy is
that it is written as if it's like, I don't know, like it's like seduction in a 40s movie or something like that. It's like there's always the seductor and the seductee.
Yeah,
it's not.
Right. Again, makes me think it's a woman. I could be wrong. I might get excoriated in emails or whatever, but I do think that like if you think that you're the one doing the seducing, you're probably the woman, because
right. Yeah. Men don't think, oh, I seduced that woman. Yeah. But if it's a philosopher, like I think all bets are off as to those kinds of things. So you really don't know, because women wouldn't say this either. Like if they weren't philosophers.
Right.
Yeah.
One must also know this, again, strong players quoting, one must also know how to resist the urge to brag too much or to publicize one's flings. Yes, of course.
Right.
These discipline-specific sexual skills, I don't think, by the way,
it's not discipline-specific. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Hang together with broader virtues that are important for having a good sex life in general. This includes self-reflection and honesty about what one wants and what doesn't, appropriate respect. So, I don't know.
This is what I mean about it takes the fun out of everything. Like,
and the other thing that made me cringe is like her description of sex as shagging.
Yes.
Perhaps the biggest challenge with shagging other philosophers is the fact that once one has dropped the professional masks with a given person, it is hard to look at that person again with the mask on. Which, again, might be a good point, but is that really the biggest challenge? It's like, I can't take their philosophy seriously anymore now that I saw their dick.
Right.
Like,
I don't think so.
I'm not a utilitarian anymore. Like I saw his thing.
How many utilitarians have lost, adherence because someone saw their dicks? This is a line.
He's not a maximizer for sure.
This is a line from the essay. One cannot be a player alone. Shaggers require shaggies.
So
like I kind of think you have to like exile yourself after writing that.
But this is the thing. Clearly, they're so proud of that.
Yeah.
Clearly, they wrote that and they're like, yeah, baby.
Nicely done.
Okay, so let's get to the weak player.
Yeah, like there's this one passage that I actually like, which comes up actually right after shaggers require shaggies. A weak player is someone who has the desire to sleep around, and perhaps does, but does not yet possess the virtues to combine this seamlessly with their professional role. Academia has many weak players. In fact, academia systematically creates weak players. That's the one good. Like those last two sentences, I think, are actually like on point. No notes. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I would say that maybe it's less that it creates weak players, that it attracts weak players.
That's right.
Which she kind of says in this next sentence. Academics, many of them bookish nerds, often lead a life of work and no play and might have few non-academic social contacts due to frequent moving around, which means less opportunities to have sex, but also fewer friends.
But to defend creates, it's like normally these people wouldn't ever become players, but there's something maybe about philosophy or like certainly academia.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the fact that like people who are smart in a kind of way that's not like sexually alluring, it actually can work for them in this one area of life.
Yeah, right. They can gain some status that might make them attractive.
Yeah, and maybe philosophy is like even.
So I think that the next point that she makes about weak players, she says there's many different types, but this I thought was insightful. A weak player is somebody who can't take rejection.
Yeah.
And she says, some expect others to manage their feelings of rejection. Some see work-related advantages as a labor of love and feel entitled to intimacy after helping someone out professionally. Some assume that a casual fling must develop into a serious relationship or that a hookup must become a regular liaison. I think that's all right. Like, I think that's what fucks up, especially like men who just can't deal with not being able to,
Based on some reports, it feels like just Gen Z guys are weak players, kind of.
You and your generational hatred.
No, I'm a fan of Gen Z for the most part, but it does sound like some of the guys are weak players.
I was thinking, maybe. But the rejection part in general, I think there are a lot of like older men who can't handle that shit. Like, and get just turned really weird. The other part that I liked was that in talking about weak players, she says many of these types are self-proclaimed feminist allies.
Yeah.
But everyone is a feminist ally until they get friend-zoned.
Again, like that's kind of a good line, but it's also, I don't know. I have to be more on board to be like,
It's written as a pull quote.
Well played.
When people write.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So whatever, like it goes on, and she says our strong player is absolved, and she tries to hedge here by saying like, no, look, even if you're a strong player and you're doing like all of the things that I said, you could still get in trouble and in fact harm others. But like I found it unconvincing. I think that there is something kind of dangerous about thinking about all of this in the way that is being presented, but also just weird. Like I would hate if I hooked up with somebody at a conference meeting all the criteria for like, consensual, no power imbalance, whatever. And I knew that they were thinking about all of this in this way.
Yeah.
I would feel weird.
Me too.
I
didn't realize I was I was a little piece in the project of your like character building exercise. Yeah.
And then she sort of ends with this exhortation to like, if you see a weak player, torch them. Like,
teach them
you would be
first.
doing the service of discipline.
Because like probably some of these guys that like it's like the greatest thing that they thought, at least this is like, I can't believe this has never happened to me before. This woman decided to seduce me, but they can't handle it when she wants to like get up the next morning and thanks, that was fun. Throw some money on the bed and
money on the dresser. Here's the one part that I wanted to like when I was talking about this weird intertwining of philosophy and sex. This is what I wanted to get your thoughts on it as a qua philosopher, I should say.
Yes.
This is toward the end. Having strong players is also enriching for philosophy as a whole. Many world-changing philosophical works have been informed by romance with other philosophers. Think of de Beauvoir and Sartre's complicated romance. For Plato, philosophy was a place for Eros, and later Platonists like Murdoch, whose philosophy centers on love. Oh, centers with an R-E. We know that this is a UK philosopher. Centers on love has no doubt been influenced by her own erotic experiences in the discipline, some of which were problematic. Most of us can think of a few philosophers who would probably have produced better work, at least in some areas, had they been better players. I won't mention the names that come to my mind out of respect for devotees of these frustrated men. The guidance of Eros has certainly enhanced my own philosophy.
Oh God, this is
Thoughts,
the dumbest.
philosopher?
This is the dumbest part of the whole essay. I think de Beauvoir and Sartre are really her only examples. But even like the Murdoch one, like she can't even come up with like these examples. Like, I mean, no doubt she was probably like just like she wrote about love. Probably like she had some erotic experiences that influenced her that were problematic. It's just so stupid. I find this like it's weird. Like maybe this, listeners can psychoanalyze my like reaction. Maybe it's like over the top to not even really want having like it in me to joke about it. But I it made me want to crawl out of my skin.
Me too, but I felt a responsibility to cover it. Also brings me a little bit of delight to see you uncomfortable about a topic, which is very rare, Richard.
Yeah, I guess that's right. And it's such a perfect thing to get philosophers to talk about, too. It doesn't surprise me. Like, if you had said over under 295 comments, I might have said over.
Yeah. All right, well, we need a palate cleanser of some sort before talking about the wonderful topic for the second segment.
All right, we'll be right back to talk about In Bruges. Welcome back to Very Bad Wizards. This is the time where we like to take a moment and thank all of our listeners who reach out to us, who get in touch with us, and of course, who support us. If you would like to send us an email, we love to get those emails. We still read every single one of them, even if we can't respond to more than a fraction of those. If you'd like to reach us, you can email us at verybadwizards@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at Peas, at Tamler, or at verybadwizards for the joint account. You can follow us on Instagram. You can like us on Facebook even still. We're not really a big presence on Blue Sky yet. Certainly I'm not. Although you can follow me on Letterboxd. I really like to see listeners and just anyone on Letterboxd. I really enjoy that community. And you can join the Very Bad Wizards subreddit. One of the best ways to show your support for the show is to subscribe to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and now even on YouTube. We just put all of our episodes up on YouTube for the first time, so you can catch us there too and subscribe. And leave us a rating. Leave us a nice rating. That helps other people who might like the podcast find it. If you would like to support us in even more tangible ways, you can go to the support page on our website, and there's a bunch of different things you can do. First and foremost, become one of our beloved Patreon supporters. We love our patrons. This episode is a result of somebody suggesting In Bruges and it getting to the semifinals of the tournament, but not quite winning. At just $2 a month, you get all 8 volumes of David's Beats. At that $5 a month tier, you get access to all of our bonus episodes, and we have a ton now, including The Ambulators, our deep dive into every single episode of Deadwood and the movie. Just one of the best things either of us has ever done, professionally, personally. You'll also get a bunch of like Star Trek episodes, a bunch of David Lynch episodes that I did with the Lynch crew, Jesse Graham and Natalia Washington. There's something coming on the horizon too, which I won't say, but it also involves Lynch. It involves me and a member of my family. So keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure when it will drop, but I think at least some of you might enjoy that quite a bit. At $10 a month, you get to not only suggest Patreon listener-selected episodes, but vote on them in a tournament-style bracket. And we do this about twice a year. And I think the tournament was fun. I think we'll probably do it again. The winner, of course, this year was Schopenhauer, a couple essays by him. Yeah, Schopenhauer just ran through that tournament. You also get access to our Brothers Karamazov bonus series, another thing David and I are very proud of. And, of course, at $20 a month, and all of this is now available discounted for a year, you can ask us a question every month, and then we will answer it in one of our AUA episodes that we do every month. We'll answer it in video form for you, audio form for all of our bonus tier listeners. Thank you so much to all our patrons, and really to every single person of the Very Bad Wizards community. We love hearing from you. We really enjoy doing those Ask Us Anythings as well. Thanks so much. Let's get to In Bruges. All right, let's get to talking about In Bruges, Martin McDonagh's debut movie. This is his first movie from 2008, starring Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson and Ralph Fiennes, who is, I mean, they're all phenomenal. There's not a, well, I was going to say there's not a bad performance, but there might be one that I want to throw out as being bad. But overall, this movie is fucking just awesome. I just love it. I've always loved it, and I can't wait to talk about it. Did you see it when it first came out? When did you see it?
I think I must have seen it when it first was released, in DVD or whatever. I don't remember seeing it in theaters, but I remember really liking it. But again, I didn't appreciate it as much as watching it this time around. I think I just appreciate it more. Like, whatever me as a film viewer has changed enough. I just didn't remember like the subtleties of the performance, the rich themes. I kind of wish I had watched it more in the last 15 years.
Yeah. For me, it's one that I'll watch every couple of years. Like, it's because it's just fun to hang out with those characters, and it's a very funny movie, and it moves really well. And I guess my reaction watching it this time is just being in awe of the screenplay.
Yeah.
Everything pays off. Like, there's not a line that doesn't connect to something later. And it's often for comic effect, but it's never just for comic effect. Like, it's not cheap. It's not obvious. And there's new ones that even though I've probably seen this like 8 or 9 times, the fact that the big, hefty American fellow, that he went up to the tower, he walked up and then had a heart attack. And that's why the tower is closed at the end. It's because of the heart attack. And, him having the coins that he can drop, Brendan Gleeson at the end. There's so many just little things like that. It's just so unbelievably intricate, and it doesn't feel that way. I was telling you, I think it reminds me of like a great Coen Brothers script where it's like you only in retrospect can see how all this ties together so perfectly. And I'm kind of in awe of the writing of it. But like you said, it's also beautifully performed.
Yeah. It's probably one of the most obvious points to make. But he's a playwright, and cutting your teeth on stage productions, I think they just have to be more efficient in terms of dialogue, or at least focused on communicating via dialogue in a way that films can often get away with not doing. Yeah. I totally agree. There's not a wasted line. I didn't, until the second time around this time, did not see those amazing instances of foreshadowing. Not heavy-handed, could easily be in lesser hands heavy-handed, but not at all.
Yeah. It's also like a deeply moral movie. Like, I would say it's obsessed with morality almost.
Yeah.
That's really the heart of the movie. Big moral choices, little moral choices, questions about, do you live according to principles, or can you adapt from that? I don't know. What do you think some of the themes that jump out at you about it?
I mean, for me, the big one is, what is your duty to humanity? What does it mean to be a good person broadly? And what is your specific duty to others who you have a relationship with and who may have been good to you in the past? And then just obviously, what do you do when guilt is eating you alive? What does it mean to be able to live and move past something that is morally horrific.
Yeah, like unforgivable in some way.
Unforgivable. Is there any redemption to be had? And what does that redemption look like? And forgiving, are you able to forgive yourself? And should you even be able to forgive yourself? And I think people in this movie do not do well at forgiving themselves. And I think they very explicitly do not think that they are even allowed to be the ones to forgive.
Yes. And yet they also and I think this is true of both Ray, the Colin Farrell character, and Chloe, who I don't know who that actress is. I want to know more about her. But there's that scene where they both kind of realize that the other one actually likes them and thinks they're a good person and worthwhile after the botched robbery. And they're both so clearly animated by that and touched by that. So it is, it's like what happens when someone believes in you, the power of someone believing in you is a big theme of it too, even though these are people who do have a lot of trouble believing in themselves.
Yeah. Clemence Poissy is her name.
Yeah.
She's a French actress.
I really like her in this movie.
Yeah, she's very good.
Yeah, I mean, when I was writing down themes, it's just so many, sin,
I know.
punishment, honor is a big,
honor is a big one.
Yeah, repentance, just the whole idea of purgatory, being in a purgatory, liminality. This movie is takes liminality to its kind of...
It's what Bruges is,
It's totally. And what sometimes traveling can be, on a trip like this, after something big happens. Redemption, as you said. Also the power of language, the power of slurs, that's why, although this movie is not politically correct, and I think, there's certain things that at first glance seem gratuitous, I don't think any of it is. I think there's a message about what this language means and what it does. I think it's about child abuse and losing innocence as a child. Also the consequences of little choices, I think, is a big one.
Yeah, I was going to say responsibility. Just what does it mean to be morally responsible for something, even if it wasn't intended? You caused something in the world to happen.
Yeah, so that's definitely one kind of unintended effects of your moral choices, but then also just even little things, little choices to make fun of the fat people who are going up the stairs, or blowing smoke in somebody's face. These all have ripple effects later, and then it's just also it's a big C Catholic movie.
Absolutely,
it is. About as Catholic as you get. Yeah, Martin McDonagh, I really, he kind of has the career that I wanted to have. He started as a playwright and just immediately successful, had 4 plays on the West End at the same time, just ridiculous success early on. He grew up in working class London, but he's Irish, from an Irish family. And he was immediately successful as a playwright, coming out of as a school dropout. And then his first movie wins an Oscar. It's a short film called Six Shooter. And then his next movie is In Bruges. And honestly, I love every single one of his movies. The one after this, Seven Psychopaths, I think is great. I feel like people are a little snooty about it because it has that meta 2000s Tarantino-y kind of... Yeah,
that's what I was talking to you off air, that I've seen that film, but I need to see it again now in this context because I remember having that vibe.
It has that kind of adaptation. Everything has to be about making a movie and about the craft. Yeah. But if you get past that and you're just with Sam Rockwell, Christopher Walken, and Colin Farrell just at the top of their games, it's so good. It's just so fun. And that's the one, and Jen too, my wife, that we watch all the time. We love that movie. And it's not for the meta aspects of it at all. It's just to hang out with these characters. Then 3 Billboards was after that, which I think is really, really good. It's my least favorite, but that's only because I love the other ones. They're all practically 5-star, if not 5-star movies for me. And 3 Billboards is not quite that. But I think it's really good. And it just got, it was right after Trump got elected and Me Too and all that. And people just got people had to be a pain in the ass about reviewing it. And even it seems like thinking about it in retrospect, because it's not at all a simplistic or Yeah. And then Banshees, which, we've talked about.
Yeah. Banshees, I think, is just one of the best explorations, moral explorations that I've seen. And the friendship between these two actors is something that I want to keep seeing.
Yeah.
I want more movies with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and Colin Farrell at the time, I don't think, like, this gave people a new way of seeing Colin Farrell.
I can't say enough about his performance in this. Like, it's moving. Just genuinely emotionally moving.
Yeah.
For like a character who is kind of like a clown in many ways.
Yeah. A clown, a child, and a
fuck up.
A fuck up. Right. Yeah. And yet everybody seems to root for him, and you kind of root for him the whole way throughout the movie too. Like, there's something about him that despite all of that, people want to help him.
Yeah.
And support him.
Yeah. I think we all know people like this. Like, you take them under your wing. You really root for them. You could, almost because they seem so helpless in their failures.
Yeah. And there's so much potential. You see potential in them.
Yeah. What you said before about the themes, like the power of believing in somebody else, is totally right. And Brendan Gleeson's character Ken believing in Colin Farrell's character Ray is one of the sweetest parts of this movie.
Yeah. I had the same reaction to that. Like, he really is like a supportive father in a lot of this. All right, should we dive into it? We're going to go through this because we tried to single out some scenes and stuff, right? And it was just like, we kind of want to talk about all of them.
Yeah.
All right, so we get this opening narration where we learn that he did something terrible for this mob boss, or we don't even know, I guess, the details of that.
All we know is that he threw the gun in the Thames and got the fuck out of London.
And they were told to go to Bruges, and he didn't even know where that was, but apparently it's in Belgium.
It's actually very helpful that he says that. Like, when I first watched the movie, I was like, my thoughts are, where is that? And then he just says, it's in Belgium.
I actually have been to Bruges, like when
when
I was young, like when I was traveling in Europe as a college kid at one point, like backpacking. We went to Bruges for a couple of days, and it's nice, but I think it's a perfect setting for this. I think. In fact, like Martin McDonagh, I listen. Do you listen to that Roger Deakins podcast?
No, I keep meaning to. You told me about it. It was like so up my alley.
Yeah. So there's one with Martin McDonagh, and he said like when he thought there was nowhere else that this could be. I think partly because it's such a Catholic city, medieval, and also because it's beautiful, but it's boring, and it's like a perfect purgatory. And he was like stressing during the production that someone else would release a movie set in Bruges, and then he wouldn't have been able to do it. So, yeah. All right, so we get to the hotel. They get to the hotel, and there's only one room, so the two of them have to stay in one room.
Classic setup.
Yeah,
like just
perfect. Yeah, and I think like from the start, Ray just is acting like a sullen kid on vacation with his parents, and he has no interest in being there, and he's just going to be a pain in the ass about it the whole time.
Yeah. He's just petulant. He's petulant. He's like, why here? Like, let's go home, Dad.
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but do you get the sense that from the beginning, Ken knows what he's there to do?
That's a good question.
I'll just tell you my vibe, my feeling watching it again is that he is resisting this thought. There's, as he points out later, there's so much weirdness about being asked specifically to flee to Bruges that I think he's trying to not admit to himself. Because as we find out later, we already know that there was an incident.
Yeah. That's a great question, actually, and that I have never thought about. But I think that he knows something's fishy about just being told to go hide out there. But he has no idea why Bruges would be that place.
Right.
And so that's the thing that might be stopping him from thinking that that's definitely what he's been asked to do. Like the Bruges thing, until he finds out why, is the part of that puzzle that doesn't make sense. But yeah, I think he does. I think that's right. Like there's something that is bugging him from the start, and maybe that's why he just wants to be a tourist. Like he does kind of seem like he knows he might die here.
Yeah. And again, like, not to get ahead, but when he goes up to the tower alone, so like in the beginning, there's this sort of montage of them doing a touristy thing, going on a boat tour. And as you say, Ray is being very like little kid that he hates it. at some point, Ken goes up to this tower alone and he pretends to put Ray in his scope.
Yeah.
And bang, bang. And I don't think that he's doing that on purpose because he knows that he's going to have to do anything. But I think that this is actually his subconscious leaking out, that he kind of knows.
I think that's right. Yes. Okay, so yeah, there's this beautiful montage, and this is like stuff that's filmed, I think, really well and edited really well.
Yeah.
It's just it's a gorgeous day. Yeah, and then I love this dynamic of Ken trying to have, like, he wants a tourist partner, you know, and so he's constantly trying to say things about it, and he gets nothing from Ray. Like, just like throughout, he gets absolutely nothing. Here, he just gets sullen silence. Then they go to the bell tower. He's trying to get rid of all his coins, his little euro coins. And he only has 4.90, and as the man says, entry is €5. So this guy is like a pain in the ass. Like, this guy has a code though, which is these fucking tourists are not getting in unless they pay the money. It's €5. That's it. You know, and in that sense, he reminds me of Harry, like, who we'll see later.
Yep.
And so he has to change a 50 instead, which leaves Ken with all these coins, which will also come back later. But what I love about this is this is like if you've traveled in Europe and you get all these fucking coins and you don't even know what they mean. Like, you do want to get rid of them, you know? And then you have this guy who's being such a hard ass about, 10 whatever euro pence or whatever that is.
Cents. I believe they're cents.
Cents, yeah. So we go to the top of the bell tower, and that's where, as you described, he shoots Ray. But then also, like, he says, "I like it here," and like, I thought, like, what do you make of that line? Where he says, "I like it here."
I have it in my notes. I mean, we learned that the goal of In Bruges was to get somebody to like it, to give them a good experience before they have to die. And it turns out that it's a different guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think that he thinks, I like it here. Bruges is going to be a metaphor for purgatory. And maybe there's something about purgatory, like this place of possibility also. This place where it can go either way. So we go to the base of the bell tower, and here you get these 3 American tourists, maybe from, who knows, Wisconsin. I have personal beef with Wisconsin right now, but middle America kind of caricature, but not, they're quite overweight, especially the man. And they ask him who's just sulking at the bottom of the tower. At first he tries to just say, but you don't want to go up there. And then they say, what do you mean? Why not? The guide says it's a must see. The guide says, and then Ray starts getting a bit mean. Like, he calls them elephants, and the guy tries to hit him, and he's running around, and
they call him the rudest man.
And then again, this is like great foreshadowing where Ken is collateral damage a little bit. Like, they get mad at Ken for something that Ray did. So and they say, "Screw you, motherfucker." But like, it's also just so great. Like, this is what I was saying. If Ray had been a little nicer about telling them not to go up, then that guy wouldn't have gone up. He would have, if they had just taken Ken's advice and not gone up, like, that guy would be alive. The tower wouldn't have been closed. But like, all these things matter, like, it's like being a nice person, even if it doesn't seem like that much in the moment, and it's all kind of funny, and it's like, it could matter. Like, I do think that's a big part of this movie. This tapestry doesn't just depend on the big choices, but also the small choices.
Absolutely. And I explicitly have this as a note too, that they call him the rudest man.
Yeah.
And I have, if he weren't, he would have survived. And I think that a lot of the things that are distasteful about this movie, we had one listener say, like, I'm not sure if this holds up because of the jokes. It's not that 2008 was that, I mean, it was different in sensibilities, but it was still a lot of offensive things that the character Ray says. And I think that the reason that's in there is because of there are consequences to him being like this to other people, as you point out. And I think that all of the things that he says that are actually like pretty hurtful, he can't help himself. Like, he has a real deep problem with like being able to hold back the things that pop into his mind. Yeah. And like, you just can't, as an adult, you just can't be that way. Like, you can't.
Our podcast might be a counterexample, but
Imagine the shit we don't say, though. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, that's right. Like it has that kind of kids, like he loves the naughtiness of it but then, you know, like I think you see, and I think the key scene that comes later is when you find out about Ken's wife, who is black, and how ironically, it's the dwarf's kind of racist rant that actually really had an effect on Ken. And like, so these things do matter again, you know, like they matter, like when you say these things. But, you know, I will say that at the time I probably thought, oh, this is fun. Like, I don't like now when you go back, you're a little uncomfortable by this stuff. But I think that's like probably the right way to view it and not how I
shouldn't just be like, it's hilarious that he called them elephants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so then we go to a pub, and I love this. This movie is a great tourist movie, too. It's a great travel movie.
It's also a great Christmas movie, I think.
Yes, that's 100%. It is a Christmas movie.
It's never on the list, but I think it should be on the list of great Christmas movies.
Yeah, but what I love about this is, like, as someone who doesn't love doing a lot of sightseeing in European cities, it's so good when you can finally just chill and have a beer in, like, a beautiful old pub, you know, or bar.
Or 4 beers in 20 minutes.
Yeah. And this is where they have that conversation about, like, maybe we're here on a job. It's a bit over elaborate to send us to Bruges. And yeah, I think, you know, in that sense, the Bruges is like a place of possibilities in the sense that it is the one thing, like, probably Ken thinks, you know what Harry would do? I know Harry. He's going to want me to kill this kid. But why would he send me to Bruges then?
Yeah.
You know?
When you could hide out easily in Croydon or even Coventry.
Yeah. So then they go up to the hotel room. This is a really sweet scene where Ray has to try to convince Ken to go out because they're supposed to wait for Harry's call. And he says, well, maybe if, you know, those medieval buildings would look nice if they were all lit up.
I mean, it's the thing that Ray is just allergic to this stuff. And he, at some point, says, like, who cares about history?
It's just stuff that already happened. Yeah.
It's stuff that already happened. And it's ironic because the one thing that he's stuck on, he can't get over, is something that happened in the past.
Yeah.
And as he says, it will always have happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is in that next scene where he's convinced them to go out, and it's so funny because everything Ken says to him, he's trying to, like, teach him about the city and and Ray gives the worst possible answer to everything. Like,
he's such a kid.
You know, he really is a kid. If anything, like, they almost, I don't think they overplay it, but, like, he's such a kid in his mannerisms. They're, like, hitting you over the head.
Yeah.
And when he says they're filming midgets, and he just runs over it, he has, like, a childlike enthusiasm for just, like, it's like if you thought you were going to some museum, but then you saw, like, there was a carnival next to it. Like, that's how he runs over to it. They're filming midgets.
So funny. Before that, by the way, Ken notes that historically Bruges had twice sheltered fugitive English kings from being murdered.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think that, like, these are the 2 English guys who presumably are fleeing from being murdered, but might not work as well.
Yeah, that's right. So then he runs over, there's a movie set, and there is, in fact, well, what we learn is a dwarf. Yeah. So we meet Jimmy, who is the dwarf, and then also he sees Chloe, who is just working there and looking hot and mysterious and European and sexy. And this is where he's like, we got to get back. Ken says to him, he's like, fuck off, we got to go. Like, this is the best bit of Bruges so far. You and your buildings, he says. And this is where the movie completely takes off for me now. Like, starting now, like, I feel like this movie is great for the next, like, you know, pretty much almost until the end. I think it's just like one nonstop, like, amazing scene after another.
Do you mean the beginning, like when he sees Chloe?
Yeah, I love him chatting up Chloe and that dynamic. It perfectly captures, I think, a certain dynamic of when you're trying to, like, pick up a girl or chat someone up in a bar and it at first doesn't go well, and then you throw out a Hail Mary, you know, like, which he does. Like, what does he say?
A lot of midgets tend to kill themselves.
A disproportionate amount.
A lot of midgets tend to kill themselves. A disproportionate amount. Herv Villa Chase off of Fantasy Island. I think somebody off the Time Bandits. I suppose they must get really sad about, like, being really little in that. People looking at them and laughing at them. calling them names. You know, short arse. There's another famous midget. I'm missing, but I can't remember. It's not the R2D2 man. No, he's still going. I hope your midget doesn't kill himself. Your dream sequence will be fucked.
He doesn't like being called a midget. He prefers dwarf.
Well, this is exactly my point.
Yeah.
said.
This conversation, when he says that they tend to kill themselves, I think is like one of the deepest themes of the movie that reflects something about how Ray is feeling about himself, which he's obsessed with this thought. He says they must get really sad about being really little. It's his sadness. He's projecting this deep sadness that he has. And I think that dwarves make like kind of like not nicely, but I think inferiorness that he sees of as being a dwarf that must make them sad is, I think, the moral inferiority that he is feeling, and that he is sort of like a moral midget in his own eyes. And he's contemplating.
Yeah.
He himself is being like the guy from Fantasy Island, you know, contemplating whether or not he should kill himself.
100%. Yes. I think that's totally right. And what I think is so brilliant about this scene is that it works on both those levels, right? It's very funny scene of a guy trying to pick up a sexy European girl. And so it's like the beginning of this like romance, you know? But then when you really think about the backdrop of this, what this is reflecting, but it doesn't feel like that at all when he's doing it. Like it feels like it could be like before sunrise or something like that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it only starts to sink in as the movie progresses how deeply sad Ray is.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like a great demonstration also of like this kind of depression. I think this sort of, you know, he's done something that's like morally injurious to him. Like he can't live with himself given what he's done. And I think it's just a good portrayal of somebody like him dealing with this. Like when you're depressed in that way, you're not always mopey. He's like making jokes and having fun. And as the movie goes on, I think there are moments in which, say, like Chloe at dinner says something to him that you know is hurting him so bad. And you can see in his performance that it does. But you wouldn't if you were at dinner with him.
Yeah.
You wouldn't realize
Totally.
how much he's hurting. Like it's so good. The performance, the writing at giving us his emotional life without just being like completely obvious.
Yeah, maudlin or...
Yeah.
Yes. I think the one point of disagreement we might have is that I think it's more like he's more schizophrenic about it. Like I think when he's with Chloe and then, you know, giving the thumbs up to Jimmy, the dwarf, like he is genuinely like exuberant.
Manic almost, yeah.
But no, I don't think it's manic. I think that sadness is there and it's a part of him, but that deep happiness of I got a date. Like when he comes back to the hotel after this scene, he is as giddy as like a kid who just got a date to the prom with like someone he never thought would go to him to the prom. And like when he says like he had 6 beers and 7 bottles or whatever, like and he's like, I'm not even pissed. It's like, that's how it is. And I think he's genuinely like when Ken looks at him there, I mean, he's annoyed because he's being woken up. But I think this is part of Ken's like, this guy could have a chance at happiness if I gave it to him. And it's only because I think he is genuinely happy about what happens with Chloe, even with all that sadness that's underlies it. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I don't think I disagree too much. Like, I think to me, the sadness is always there. And I guess one of the things I was trying to say is that when somebody is depressed, it doesn't mean that they're never able to have fun or those interactions.
Right.
Unless it's like super serious. And I do think that he's genuinely happy. I think his life at this point is distracting himself to feel happy at any moment that he possibly can. Because the minute he's left alone with his thoughts for too long, they go back to what he's done about Chloe.
And at breakfast the next day when he comes down and he moves out of the way for like he's still riding high, you know, like again, it's like I really think this captures a dynamic perfectly of like traveling when you're young. It seems like everything is just working out perfectly, you know?
Yeah. You know, there's a moment that just quickly before we move past it when this one, you know, usually the Jimmy, the dwarf, he's sort of like the butt of Ray's jokes and stuff. But initially, when Ray gives Jimmy the double thumbs up, Jimmy gives a smile that's actually, to me, reflects something deeper that's happening, which is that Ray thinks that he has something up on Jimmy and that he's being kind of condescending with a double thumbs up. But like the dwarf doesn't, he knows that he's actually not the one. Like there is something in that smile where he almost knows that Ray is the one that is not happy.
Huh. That's not how I interpret that at all. That's so funny. Like I interpret it as he's very happy and like Jimmy, for the only time in the movie, seems like happy for him.
He smiles.
Yeah, he smiles. Yeah. That's the performance, by the way, that I'm not sure what I think about. But
I knew the moment you said it, I knew that was who you were talking about.
It's one note a little bit.
Yeah. It must be hard to find some, you're being put in scenes with what are great actors.
Are you saying we should grade it on a curve?
A little bit. I mean, it's just like, it's just the pool from which to choose. It's like,
let's move on then. So they make a deal here. Harry has sent a letter, a very profane letter, saying he should have been there and to call him back and he better be fucking in next time. And the owner had to take it down. And I like her. That's a great character, by the way.
She's great.
The innkeeper, she's like looks like about to have a kid. So again, there's this child that's part of it. She takes it in stride, Harry's letter, and says that she's the owner, not the secretary.
Not the receptionist. He's a bit of a cock.
Yeah, he's a bit of a cock. And you could tell that Ken just loves her, like after she says that. It's like, oh, that ended this perfectly, That's like how you like handle a situation. It's like so few of the people can interact in that way that's so smooth.
I love it. I love that he pulls her aside to apologize to her about the note.
Yeah,
he realizes that,
it just shows like this is the counter case to like Ray with the American obese people, and it's like, oh, you can actually handle these things like virtuously, and everything is good. So then they make the deal for Ray getting to go out on his date.
Which is when Ray says something that I can't even repeat.
So I wanted to talk. I had like, what do you make of the over the top like non-wokeness of this?
It was a little jarring to me. Like I thought, okay, you've made the point, and I guess this is just an attempt to make the point even more strongly.
And this morning, and this afternoon, we are doing what I want to do. Got it?
Of course. Which I presume will involve culture.
Well, we shall strike a balance between culture and fun.
Somehow I believe, Ken, that the balance shall tip in the favour of culture. Like a big, fat, fucking retarded fucking black girl on a seesaw. Opposite. A dwarf.
So it's like, it's kind of funny that he does the PC thing at the end.
Right.
But I got the shooting script of this, and like it continues after this, which is
really
interesting. Like, and it's interesting that they cut this. So he says, I was down the park one day when I was little, and this big fat retarded black girl came up and beat the shit out of me for absolutely no reason. Completely bit the shit out of me. And Ken says, what does being black have to do with it? So that's like, it's like an echo we didn't get to see for what the dwarf will say later on. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's good that they cut this, but it's interesting that he left in that part of it, given that it doesn't now connect to really anything except maybe Ken's wife.
Yeah, it's weird because it does feel like it comes out of nowhere, and without like the backstory, it feels extra like, why would he choose that specific metaphor?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He had an excuse kind of to say that, and then they just cut that, I think probably looking to highlight.
I could do without that. Like I
agree. Yeah. But we've set up that he says these things,
and that it genuinely looks like a failure of willpower to not say the things that pop into his head.
Yes.
He's not like, I don't know how to describe it. It's clear, and it's extra clear later on in the restaurant scene where he's literally narrating what's going on in his head, where he's clearly like making some sort of a very weak attempt at not saying something, but knowing that he's going to say it anyway.
Yeah. And I think both of us can relate to that to some degree.
That's
maybe
true.
me more than you, but
No,
I think probably both.
I'll take the blame.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the things that's charming about him too. Like, this is one of the things, just that childlike impetuousness of, I have this funny thought in my head, I have to say it, and sometimes like you don't,
Right.
And they have really bad consequences when you do, but there's like a kind of allure to also being the person to say it.
Yeah.
All right. So we get to the church, the basilica with, Christ's blood.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what the blood part. I mean, there's obviously themes of redemption and whatever, but the themes were more clear to me later on when they're looking at art. And I don't know, maybe I'm too close to Jesus to get what the metaphor is.
It's like, he clearly has a reaction that's not just being a terrible tourist, and he runs out. And this is kind of a low point for him after this, right? Because he waves to the dwarf, to Jimmy, and Jimmy ignores him. And then the dog next to him shuns him on the bench.
Yeah.
And it's like, it seems like a low point, to the point where now we get a flashback to what actually happened.
Yeah. About this blood specifically, so the story is that this church contains dried blood of Jesus, but that at times during great stress, it turns back into liquid.
Yeah.
Is there anything there like that? Am I missing?
I mean, maybe again, the kind of like, this is a place of possibilities and a possibility of redemption or forgiveness or mercy or second chances. And like, if you're here when the blood turns liquid, it's like you can start over. You can have a new chance, a new life.
Yeah. Okay, here's my one shot then. The blood of Christ the Savior turning liquid during times of great stress. Like, we do get a lot of blood later, and we get a lot of blood when Ken sacrifices himself and ends up being essentially in a pool of blood. He sacrifices himself for Ray.
Yes.
So maybe it's foreshadowing in that respect.
Yeah, like that's the liquid blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And it might make a difference in terms of how you interpret it the very end. Like, does he live or does he die? Yeah, that seems right. I also think it makes sense for Ray. It's just, like you said, it works better in the museum than here, but it makes sense that Ray would start to get a little uncomfortable when like Jesus and sin and, blood are brought up.
We didn't talk about this, but the very opening scene when Ken says something to Ray, I don't even remember what it is that he says.
He's like, I don't like to say this, but that.
Yeah. And he's just like, how could you bring that up now? And he's very upset by it. It's actually kind of mysterious. Like, what would make Ray that upset that he's bringing up? Because he doesn't actually bring anything up. But I guess it just goes to show how top of mind it is to him, like how easily it's lurking beneath the surface, because just like the smallest hint that that's what he's bringing up really gets him upset.
So I think like it's frustrating from Ken's perspective that they're going here because he fucked up and killed the kid. And he's being a pain in the ass and sullen, and we can't stay here or whatever. So Ken did, I feel like, as sensitively as possible, being like, it's your fucking fault that we're here.
Yeah. And he's like, how could you bring that up? Like,
exactly. But I think you're right. Like, it shows that, like, because you don't get from the narration that this was necessarily something horrible. And I think you get a sense of it there. It's perfectly done, actually, but you have no idea what the scope is. So then you see it in a flashback. Harry, assigned Ray for his first job to murder a priest, which he does through the confessional booth, but he does it poorly. And so it gets out of the confessional booth, and he keeps shooting him in the back and ends up one of the bullets hitting a child who is there praying. And it's really like the head of this child just has a hole in it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So I want to know what you think about, I guess, the scene, but then I also have a larger interpretation about what I think happened here.
It's funny when you were talking about watching this movie as sort of like a go-to like fun movie.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things I was going to say is like, I don't think it could be that for me, given how like dark it is at its core. Mm-hmm. Like, it feels like it's a movie that makes me uncomfortable. And so other than just like the observation that this is like, you understand how somebody like Ray could be completely fucked up at the thought of killing a child. Yeah.
So this was the thought that I had. So you have to wonder why he's killing this priest. And especially since Harry doesn't seem, as we find out, like he's just like a psychopath and would be randomly killing priests.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like priest is a pedophile. And that's why Harry, because he sends a message that this is for Harry when he shoots him. And so what I was thinking is, I don't know if it was this priest, probably not. Probably Harry's taken care of that already. But Harry himself was probably molested as a child, and him going to Bruges when he was 7 years old was kind of when he was last innocence. So that literally sets everything in motion. Is Harry being molested by a priest after going to Bruges having this outsized memory fairy tale land because it was his last time of innocence, and then him wanting to kill a pedophile priest and having Ray do it. Like, it gives a kind of moral completeness to what's going on. There's a kind of deterministic path that you see in this movie. And if you think this is what set Harry to become Harry, to be a cunt, and he'll always be a cunt, and he has a code, and he has to follow that code. So that's one moral alternative, is that everything, it starts with original sin, being molested, and it leads to a lot of bloodshed and all of that. And then there's on the other side, which Ken is fighting for, possibility. It's like, no, people can change. Not all of us, not me, not you, Harry, but like, people can actually morally improve, and even if they've done something unforgivable, still live a life where there is a possibility of redemption. This is the kind of fulcrum, this scene here, of like that question being set.
I'm so on board with your explanation that I feel dumb for not having thought of it. I don't know about the specifics about Harry, like whatever, but that it's about the loss of innocence from abuse and child abuse totally fits. It fits the emotions that people seem to have about childhood and all of the themes of childhood that we see, including obviously Jimmy looking like a child at the end. And I almost hesitate to say this because there are so many people who have experienced abuse, completely wide variety of the way that people deal with it. And, I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I can't help but get the vibe that Ray was abused.
Ray?
As well.
Yeah, interesting.
As a child.
Yeah.
And that he's sort of stuck, and his willingness to take on the killing of the priest could have been as a result of that. The way that everybody treats childhood in this movie is almost an overreaction to what it means to be a child.
Yes.
It's not that special. It's like not every child is that innocent and that beautiful and that wonderful. I mean, like, it's of course serious, but the way that they treat it with this reverence does feel like it's something that they've all lost or that they weren't able to have. And look, there could be other explanations for this, growing up in like a hard part of London and not having a childhood, but it totally fits with the priest thing specifically.
Yeah.
And why the worst thing that could happen when you're trying to kill a priest who has hurt a child is to kill a child while you did that, right? That is absolutely the most tragically ironic thing that could occur. Yeah, totally. I love it.
And Harry himself has that realization, I think, at the end.
Right.
I'm trying to kill a child abuser, and I end up killing a child, even though he didn't actually in that moment.
Yeah.
But like, he has that exact, I think, realization.
Yeah. And this explains Harry's like reaction to Ken calling his kids cunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
they're innocent.
Yeah. And, it's funny. At that moment, I was like, why would you bring his kids into it? And then, of course, Harry reacts like that. And he knows immediately to walk it back.
Yeah, just that, but walk
yeah,
it.
Just that. But that response to like, how dare you? Like, my kids are the only pure thing that is in me anymore. Like, I might be a cunt, but like, you can't call my kids that.
Yeah. He still sees possibilities for them that he feels like he lost.
That's right. Being abused has like walled off possibilities for people.
One thing we might note is that the child is holding a note as he's being killed, like presumably things he is repenting for. And it's so sad. Being moody, being bad at maths, being sad.
Ugh. Imagine having to confess to being sad.
Yeah. And it's those also obviously I think fit Ray. I mean, he's moody.
Exactly.
He's
They
sad.
are just exactly right.
And I actually saw this. I can't take credit for it, but bad at maths. He was supposed to kill one person, and instead he kills two.
That's too good.
Yeah, that's very good. Okay, then they go to the museum.
Okay, so now there's just full of symbolism from these paintings.
Yeah.
One of the paintings that Ken is obsessed with looking at or upset by is somebody handing a note to like essentially a skeleton of a person.
Yeah.
Right. I hadn't thought about the kid's note,
Yeah.
but I had thought of the note that Marie, the innkeeper, had just handed to Ken.
Yeah.
And so like as the recipient of the note, it just somehow to me felt like he saw that he was the one who was going to die.
Yeah, I think he does. I think that's totally right. I didn't think of that, but you're totally right. Yeah. The moral of this movie is don't hold a note.
You're going to die.
You're gonna be dead. Yeah. And here's where like this is one of a couple scenes where I think like, you know, it really wears on its sleeve what this movie is about.
Yeah.
There's that one where they're like dissecting a man alive.
They're flaying him.
Yeah, which is apparently a punishment that they would do.
It's medieval torture,
Yeah.
right? They're just literally pulling the skin off of a man.
Yeah. And then there's a painting, or what do you call it when it's in this?
It's a triptych.
Yeah.
There's a triptych by Hieronymus Bosch that really is in Bruges at a museum there. Hieronymus Bosch is famous for his depiction of in the Garden of Earthly Delights, a triptych that has heaven and hell and purgatory. And this is another one of those where it's like on each of the three panels is depicting heaven or hell or purgatory. And it's about Judgment Day, like when people will be judged and they will receive the reward or punishment for the actions that they've committed in life.
Famously played by Titus Welliver.
Bosch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is Judgment Day, and this will also come back because a lot of these same characters are in that dream sequence at the end of the movie, like the mouse or rat masks and stuff like that. And it's interesting that Ray actually likes this painting.
Yeah, he's fascinated by it.
Yeah, and they talk about judgment.
I'm kind of fascinated at these instances of moral injury where like you've done something so bad that you can't come back from it. Yeah. It turns out that like PTSD in soldiers is predicted by not so much whether you saw terrible shit happen, but whether you engaged in terrible shit. So like people who actually ended up killing, say, civilians, kids, like doing one of those things, even if it was ordered or even if it was a mistake, they're the ones that specifically are more fucked up by PTSD. And I think Ray just wants to be judged. I think he just wants to pay the price.
He knows he's guilty, and so he just wants to be judged. Yeah.
Yeah. And in his conversations with Ken, it's exactly, I think, what some of these poor soldiers with PTSD must go through, where another person can tell you very rationally, you didn't intend to kill the child.
Yeah.
Like it was an accident. It's almost like the moral luck stuff, right? Where it's like, you know, the lorry driver, like you didn't mean to kill the kid. There was no fault of your own. The kid jumped in front of the truck, but you can't help but feel like this extreme amount of guilt. Like there's no way that you can talk somebody out of feeling terrible.
He's a little guiltier than the lorry driver, though. I mean, like he did just start shooting a priest, like in a open congregation, you know.
And he says at some point, there was my decisions that led up to that.
So that little boy not being alive anymore. Yeah.
But dancing around the topic, and I think Ken is trying to just sort of like avoid being explicit about it. And this is when they have the conversation about the lollipop.
Man,
What's he doing knowing fucking karate? And he says, Jesus, I'm trying to talk about, and Ken says, I know what you're trying to talk about. And this is where Ray says, because of the choices he made and the courses he put into action, the little boy will never be here again. And then I love his literalness. He's like, I don't mean in Belgium. I mean in the world, but also in Belgium.
I don't know why he'd want to come here anyway. Yeah. Like the movie is perfect for those kinds of things. Like it never lets you end a line on something too heavy without also giving you a little levity as well.
Right. I love it when he says, I'm trying to get my head around it, but I can't. I will always have killed that little boy.
Right. This is the question of the whole movie. Can you kill a kid and get away with it, right? Like Harry says no, and Ken says yes. And it's just a question of what Ray thinks, I think.
Yeah. Right. And this is, I think, the first point that he's explicitly suicidal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love back at the museum where, they talk about Judgment Day. It's the final day. See who gets into heaven and hell. And then he's like, what's that other one? He's like, the In-Betweeny one. You weren't really shit, but you weren't all that great either. Like Tottenham, they say. And as a Spurs fan, like, I had to take that hit. And it's very funny. It's still true. It's the same. It hasn't changed. That was 2008. It's been true. It's unbelievable.
Poor Spurs.
And then they have the conversation you were referring to on the park bench. One thing I wanted to say, we hear about Ken here and him, like this has had an effect on him. And, this seems like this movie is all about Ray and his choices. But here's Ken trying to figure out, like, where do I go? And he's like, and it's kind of pathetic. Like, he's like, if I see an old woman, I'm not going to help her across the street, but I might hold the door open for her or something like that,
Yeah, well, like for a woman shopping. Yeah, I'm not going to
I'm not going to help her with her bags. That's the best he can do to like come up with something that's good about him. So I think you see that he does kind of feel like he's fallen a little bit.
Yeah, he seems like the normal kind of person who is making excuses. He's not realized what Ray has realized, that like what he's done is irredeemable. He's sort of coming to terms that I have to reconcile with the fact that I have killed people. But he says, but most of them were bad people, except for one nice guy.
Yeah.
But he came at me with a bottle.
Yeah.
And and they both agree.
They have this moral debate about the bottle, which whether that's self-defense or whatever. But I just found Ken, like in this scene, I guess I disagree. I think he thinks it's too late for him. Like he's made his choices and he can't be saved. He's like Harry. And he hasn't been like a good enough person to be saved. Yeah. And like, this guy is just one of the people who got caught in the crossfire. Like that's a big theme here. Collateral damage, people getting caught in the crossfire. And although this scene really is about Ray revealing explicitly that he's suicidal, it's like, it's also, you get a little just glimpse into Ken and his feelings about his kind of moral character or moral possibilities.
Yeah. Like I'm a little torn here. I get what you're saying. I do think that he must think that he's maybe beyond it. But I was struck by him he wasn't so down on himself.
Yeah.
Like he's like, yeah, I've killed people, but most of them were bad. It's like he's kind of come to terms with that this is his life and he probably thinks he's beyond saving, but he's not feeling terrible about it.
No, he's not suicidal.
But of course he also hasn't killed a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the worst that he did was kill a guy who was coming at him with a bottle.
He was trying to stick up for his brother. By the way, Lollipop Man, I just figured was one of the many gay slurs that you find in this movie, but it's not at all.
You did?
I did. Yeah, it's like their slang for like a crossing guard. Did you not think it was?
No, I thought it was like a literal candy vendor, like what I would think of as an ice cream man.
No, so we were both wrong.
But my attribution was less bigoted than yours.
Well, but I mean, Lollipop Man. What's he knowing karate? I was like, gay people know karate. And so I thought like that just shows Ray's ignorance,
50-year-old. What's a 50-year-old Lollipop Man?
Yeah, so now Ray is getting ready for his date. And I just love this scene because for the first part of it, it's like a dad watching his teenage son who's very excited to go out on a date.
Yeah. And there's a subtle performance that Colin Farrell gives here that I think is just great. I mean, I think Ken looking at Ray, like you said, it's like a father.
Yes.
Just the emotion on his face, though, is just such a good performance. Like, he's really just feeling sad for him and feeling happy that he's feeling happy in this moment. Ray he's looking at himself in the mirror and he touches his face.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, did you see that? And I think he's just in that moment thinking about the kid getting shot right there. Because it turns all of a sudden.
Yep.
And it turns really sad. And he says, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Like in the end.
Yeah, because he's trying to decide, do I do this button or do I leave it open?
Yeah, I love that. Like, how low do I keep my shirt?
And then it's like, what does it matter anyway? Like whether he looks good or not. And so, yeah, here's where that sadness pokes through the surface. And the kind of, but he's all, but what I love about it, he also feels very excited about his date.
Yeah.
All right, we got the restaurant date. This is, again, it's fun. Like both of them are telling the truth about themselves, but it plays to the other person like fun banter. Like I kill priests and children, and I sell drugs to people on film sets. And it seems like they're just parrying, but they're all both telling the truth about themselves.
They're totally telling the truth, yeah. And there is just this moment, like now that we've just sort of like seen the worst of how Ray is feeling about himself. When they're talking about, when he jokes about shooting priests and kids, it's just so sad. And it's particularly sad when he says, "Do I look like I shoot people?" And she says, "No, just children." And again, Colin Farrell gives this amazing performance where he gives this little laugh. And if you didn't know, it would be just like a normal little laugh, but like it's a loaded little laugh. Like it's a sad, tragic little laugh.
But it plays like flirtation to her.
Yeah. Because why would you think that when in life would you ever really assume that somebody had?
And he says, "I saw your midget today." And it's like, he didn't even wave to me. He's so genuinely hurt by that.
So hurt by it.
It's so funny. Like that's part of his innocence, his childlike naivete. It's like, and then she tells him, no, he's just on a ketamine. And then he starts trashing Bruges, and I just love this whole dynamic. But again, it's about child abuse, right? It's about like sexual abuse of children. He, as you were saying, like he cannot stop himself. Like he's like, I think I would know better than to tell a Belgian joke, even if I did. Although, and then
I got one.
And I love that it's not even that funny. And then she pretends that one of her friends was one of the kids that was molested and murdered, and he looks stricken, and then she reveals that it's just a joke and kind of winks at him. And it's just like, it's kind of so perfect because on the one hand, it couldn't be like he actually killed the kid, and but on the other hand, it's like a very sweet moment between them. They're like falling in love. Like here, it's like she's playing with him. He like under normal circumstances, he would love that she played that joke on him. But at the same time, it's like you can't get away from it or even close of what happened.
I keep saying this, but throughout this movie, Colin Farrell's demeanor and the way that he responds in every situation appropriately with the most subtle forms of like tells for what he's feeling, it adds to this tragedy. And like I was saying before, that I would try to point out these moments where I felt like genuinely moved by what's going on, and that's one of them. Like his having to sort of respond to the jokiness about killing kids, his emotions turn like on a dime. Like it's so good. So here we get the American/Canadian. Yeah, we don't know he's Canadian yet.
There's something about him, though, that he's not like an ugly American tourist. He's something else. That's what I love. I think this is a great performance, this guy, because, it is annoying that she's blowing the smoke like right towards their table, I guess. Yeah. But he handles it in the most weaselly way possible, waiting till she leaves and letting Colin Farrell overhear. It's fucking unbelievable. And then when he's like, "What's unbelievable?" And he's like, "I'll tell you what's fucking unbelievable, shall I?" he says. And it's like, no matter what has happened, like you want this guy to get his ass kicked like right away.
He just has such a punchable face.
Yeah, this guy is awesome in 7 Psychopaths, by the way, too, this actor.
I was telling you that he's so recognizable. He's in this documentary called That Guy Who Was in That Thing.
Yeah.
That's the name of the documentary. It's about character actors.
Yeah, he's been in, I think, all of his movies except Banshees. So, yeah, it's just funny that, like, even though they're kind of in the wrong, you still take Ray and Chloe's side just because of how annoying this couple is. And, of course, the woman comes at him with a bottle and he hits it, everything is echoing.
Yeah. And then, of course, he has to explain.
Yeah.
That he would never actually hit a woman.
It's like, she came at me with a bottle. That's self-defense. And he said, a woman who could know karate. Even though he had just been saying, like, what's a lollipop man knowing karate? Yeah. So then she goes and makes a call, which we'll later find out is to call off a robbery. So she...
Oh, yeah. I didn't even put that together.
Yeah. So she says she has to make a call. And she, kisses him. She says, I'm still with you. Like, she has to keep, in a number of moments, she has to keep reassuring him that no, this is real, because he doesn't believe
She's
it.
the only thing tethering him
to life. Absolutely. Yeah. This is the only thing tethering him to life. And she seems to get that, not consciously, but like she'll do something like wink at him or kiss him or something. Like, I think she gives a really good performance too.
Yeah.
All right. So we go to Ken at the hotel. He's watching the opening of Touch of Evil. Interesting. If you
I didn't even notice that.
Noir Summer. You didn't notice that?
No. I don't know what
that Henry Mancini. The long
I
take.
only watched the version without the opening music. So.
Oh yeah. Well, no, that's the one that we saw. I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's diegetic
because there's no credits over it. Yeah, but sometimes you hear it from a car or from the bar.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's a good question. I was looking at that, but the reason I thought it wasn't is because of the credits. There's no credits going over the scene. Yeah. It's weird, like why that? Why not The Third Man, which seems like such a great parallel to this movie.
Interesting.
But I heard him on the interview with Roger Deakins, and he was saying, well, I love that movie, and you have the most famous long take in history, and he says, like, I was about to do the least famous long take, and watching it this time, I understood what he meant. Like, there is a long take of Ken in his hotel room pretending that Ray has to go out, talking to Harry on the phone, and it's all in a single take.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, you wouldn't have noticed, like, because like whether it's a single take or a lot of takes, who cares? It's just him in his hotel room. I think that was like a little inside joke for himself. And so you hear Ray Fiennes for the first time. He's already great. You just hear this guy. He sounds like a normal Cockney gangster, but very funny.
I mean, it sounded to me like Ben Kingsley on Sexy Beast.
Yeah, it's a similar kind of thing where here's this serious actor that like can be the best Cockney gangster. Like, I love it.
I think he does an incredibly good Cockney.
Yeah.
And I just think his performance as he turns into this guy is like super cool.
Yeah, and he's not the heart of the movie, but he is a heart of the movie too, even though he comes in so late.
Yeah, and he's not, I mentioned Sexy Beast. He's not that. He's not this complete psychopath. Right. He actually, we find out, cares.
Yeah,
like
he has honor, and it's a moral vision that he presents and like kind of personifies. But this is very funny, him talking about it. Like, at first, Ken doesn't know that Harry actually loves Bruges and, that he was there when he was 7. And so he's saying it's not Ray's thing, not his cup of tea. He's like, it's a fucking fairy tale town.
It's a fairy tale fucking town, isn't it? How can a fairy tale town not be somebody's fucking thing? How can all those canals and bridges and cobble streets and those churches and all that beautiful fucking fairy tale stuff, how can that not be somebody's fucking thing, eh?
What I think I meant to say was...
Is the swan still there?
Yeah, the swans.
How can fucking swans not fucking be somebody's fucking thing, eh? How can that be?
I love that. And then what do you make of Ken making up this thing that Ray said after he calms him down and says it was only at first that he didn't like Bruges? He says, in fact, one point he was lying on his back and saying, Ken, I know I'm awake, but I feel like I'm in a dream. He just pretends that Ray says that.
Yeah. After my second watch, I couldn't help but think that this is just him reporting what he's been feeling. And again, this is like, it turns out that like the last moment that's being tailored for Ray actually is the last moments for him.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's surreal, back to the liminality of being in Bruges and feeling dreamlike.
Yeah.
Just like visions of this being like the end.
Yeah.
This is going to end here.
Yeah. And the last, where both Harry and Ray get shot is in a dream sequence in a movie. So, and then I love the way that Harry tells him like what the deal is. He says, he wasn't a bad kid, was he?
Immediately, But of course Ken doesn't want to know. It's like, what do you mean?
Are you being thick? Yeah, I think that's good. Like you were saying earlier, this is a microcosm of that. Like he knows it, but he doesn't want to admit it until he's forced to.
And at that moment, it's all whatever feelings he was having about it, even subconsciously, all just come boom crashing into his conscious mind.
Yeah. All right, we go to Chloe's house. Here's where we find out that this was originally possibly going to be a setup, but then it changed course. Like Chloe actually liked Ray, and so called it off. But Eric, we learn his name, which is kind of perfect. And in the script, it's like EIRRIK and stuff. It's hilarious. Yeah, he's just a perfect Euro pseudo tough guy, and he tries to rob Ray, but Ray this is nothing for Ray. But what I like about this scene is he gets so upset, not just because he thought it was too good to be true that someone like her could be attracted to him, and then she is touched by the fact that he thinks she's a good enough person that would be something special for him. And so, but again, she does that reassuring thing. I actually do love you and call me, please, and he buys it. He believes it. And then he has what would be a dream for you and I, which is finding all those drugs.
Dude, don't you feel that just I don't know how to describe it. Just your stomach just gets excited when you see him open it up and see just bags and bags of drugs.
and he has a perfectly good excuse to take as much of it as he wants. You guys were trying to rob me, even if you tried to call it off the sale. That's what you do. The least you can do is give me these drugs. Even Chloe thinks that. Yeah. So we go to the hotel bar. Yeah, we have the judgy bartender, just Belgian.
4 beers in 20 minutes.
No problem. Yes. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, and then the dwarf Jimmy comes with a prostitute, and then Ray comes back and just gives the perfect, he describes the evening perfectly in 9 seconds because he's on the perfect amount of cocaine. And it's great. It's just so funny. And then he goes over to Jimmy and the prostitute, and Jimmy is being okay here.
Yeah, but I like his opening. He says, "You two are weird. Would you like some cocaine? Yeah. I've also got some acid and ecstasy."
Yeah. And then you see Brendan Gleeson, who has heard that he has to kill him. He's saying, "Fuck it, I'm doing some of that coke." And then when his face just appears, it's so funny. Then they go to someone's room. Maybe it's their room.
Yeah, I think it's Jimmy's room.
It's Jimmy's room. This is great Colin Farrell, drugged out performance.
And then we get the dwarf. I love the race wars thing because I don't know if maybe it's just the company that I've kept in my life, but people being high and talking about the inevitability of a race war is it's a genre of dude.
Yes.
It's just a thing. I don't know.
Yeah. And it also, I love the dynamic it captures of when on a great drugged up, especially with something like Coke, things start to go south, What I love about Colin Farrell here is he starts riling him up. He thinks it's funny, Yeah. He's talking about this rave war. He's like, okay, what about the Vietnamese? And he's like, I'm definitely fighting with the blacks.
Yeah. Here, let me think about somebody more difficult. I also think that this captures something that might not be as obviously funny to Americans, because the obsession that America has with race is really weird to a lot of other people. And this getting high on Coke and talking about race wars is it's a weird quirk of Americans that this is where your mind goes. And that it's so obvious to him that Pakistanis and Vietnamese would be fighting with black people during the race wars. He's annoyed at how obvious the answer is.
And it's not that Europeans are less racist.
Maybe not.
They can be hugely racist. It's that, they don't think of it in this way as Americans do. I'm sure that, there's historical reasons.
As a country, we're obsessed with what kind of Asian are you or whatever,
So then Colin Farrell is like, wait, hold on. So would the black midgets be fighting the white midgets? And he's like, because that's really good. You could do a movie about that. And then he says, you don't know how much shit I've taken off of black midgets and racists. That's undeniably true.
I love that too.
But here's where we learn that words matter, and that this actually hits Ken really hard. And we learn, it's such good writing too, because we also learn why Ken is so devoted to Harry. Probably why he got into this business is because his wife was killed, and Harry made sure that the guy who killed her, who was a white guy and she was black, didn't get away with it. So he's like, where would I be? That's a great question for the movie, too. What side am I on?
And here's where Jimmy drops some wisdom. He says, well, you weigh up all your options and let your conscience decide, Ken.
Yeah. And I like this is Ray's version of sticking up for Ken, which isn't killing the guy. It's just karate chopping the dwarf and calling him short arse.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. But the weigh up all your options and let your conscience decide is something that he will eventually do explicitly, at least when he's justifying his actions to Harry, who again we learn he's indebted to.
Yep, exactly. Like this moral calculation of some kind. Yeah, next morning, there's something about traveling and doing drugs where you wake up the next day and it sucks and it's like raining and it's you're depressed and you're coming down.
You've sapped your brain of serotonin. There's just no more happiness.
So if you've killed a kid in addition in recent weeks, then that's going to be tough, I think.
And you're going to wake up with a tear coming down your eye.
Yeah. So we just see Colin Farrell. Then Ken goes to see Yuri to get a gun. That's where he's going to buy it. This is very funny. I think the actor who plays Yuri is very funny and talking about the alcoves in Carnegie Asford Park. It's a little Tarantino-y, but I still like it. Yeah.
Right. And Yuri knows that he's giving him a gun to kill Ray. And he's like, are you really going to do it? And he says, yeah, I'll do it.
He says, it's what I do, which is interesting. He's like, I think that's a realization for him. This is what I do.
And he is going to do it.
Yeah. So then back at the hotel, he goes back. He has the gun now. The innkeeper tells Ken, clearly Ray has just wanted to give all his money away before killing himself. And so this alerts Ken to... and it's a really nice scene, actually, between the two of them.
It is. The innkeeper has a kind face. I don't know how else to describe her, but you just like her.
Yeah. And, because they had this good relationship, so now Ken learns about Ray's plans.
Yeah.
And then you go to the park, and this is just an unbelievably great scene. Ray's sitting at a playground bench. There's a kid there, but then they leave. The parent and the child leave. And then Ken is hiding behind something. And then he decides to kill him. And just as he's walking over to kill him from behind, Ray takes out a gun. And it's just a very funny, such a good scene. He's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. He's like, what are you doing?
He's like, I'm not allowed to, but you are. How is that fair? It's a great kid-like thing to say.
He's like, I'm allowed to. He's like, no, you're not. And I think the no, you're not is the Catholic coming out in him. It's actually forbidden for you. That would be worse. You would be sealing your fate if you did it to yourself.
Yep. Right. And also, I'm making a choice to give you this possibility, probably sacrificing my life for that. I think he knows that almost right away. Even though he just tried to kill him, I think once he saw that Ray wanted to kill himself, I don't know, do you think he would have pulled the trigger if he hadn't seen...
I think that we're supposed to think that he has every intention to, at least as he's working his way up to it. Whether or not he would have been able to at the very end, I'm not sure, but we don't know. And I like not knowing.
Yeah.
We don't know what would have been in Ken's heart at the very moment. But all we know is that he's ramped himself up to actually do it.
So this is where he says, you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I was supposed to kill you, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give you some money. And here's where he makes the case. You can start over. You can do anything.
Save the next little boy.
Save the next little boy.
And he's like, wait, I'm going to become a doctor or something?
Yeah, exactly. And then they're in the hotel room before going to the train station.
And then you get these mirror images later on, but you get his note.
Yes.
You see the note that Ray had left Ken. I went to the park so that she wouldn't have to clean it up.
Yep. And even that has he's being considerate for the first time in his life.
Yep. Totally. Yeah.
So then at the train station, I love that it's on a train in Europe. He could be going anywhere, it is like a new start. It feels like it could be a new start for him. He's like, well, tell Harry I'll probably kill myself in a couple of weeks anyway. And and then he's like, you're not going to do it, right? But I also like, and this is, I think, important. He says, some hitman I turned out to be. Ken says, some people aren't cut out for it. Ray says, are you? And Ken doesn't answer. I think he thinks, I guess I am. I've been doing it successfully. And I think the idea is that's why Ray can be saved, is he's not cut out for it,
Yeah. I also like that he tells him here, keep moving and try not to think about it as a way of dealing with it. And I couldn't help but just read some existential, reading into it, where if we were to sit and think about our moral lives and do what, as Borges sometimes refers to, justify our lives, would we be able to do it? What we end up doing is we keep moving and try not to think about it.
And that works as being part of a country too. If you try to think of what had to happen for us in America to be, doing this podcast and making money from it. It's okay, keep moving. Don't think about it.
Keep moving, try not to think about it. Yeah.
I think a lot of this scales up too. Some of the Vietnam thing, I think, is a kind of a reference to that.
Yeah.
So he then calls Harry to tell him, and it's is Ken being a little suicidal here? He's being needlessly hostile to Harry in describing what happened, and when he says it's like a fucking fairy tale or something, my take is he's angry when he realizes that he doesn't have a second chance possibility. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I do think that he knows what his outcome is. And so he's a bit more fatalistic about it. And that includes an ability to tell Harry what he thinks.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I love the cut after that because you get all the noise from the train station. And then you cut to Harry in his quiet house in his domestic bliss. But he just starts hitting the phone. And then his wife comes in and, you're an inanimate fucking object. And it's just he's so good in this. It's just pure rage.
Incredible. The look on his face when he's angry is so good, such a good psychopathic look.
Yeah. But what I love is, he apologizes to his wife after calling her an inanimate object. He says this is a matter of honor that he has to deal with. And he's also incapable of lying to her when she says, is it going to be dangerous? And instead of saying, no, it'll be fine. He's like, of course it's going to be fucking dangerous. It's a matter of fucking...
Yeah, it's a matter of honor. Yeah.
I really do think he is the Kantian, he is, he lives by a strict code that...
He's an absolutist.
An absolutist that cannot be deviated from.
Yeah.
And maybe only rethinks that right at the very end. So then we go to the train. This is the You Heat the Canadian scene. I love this. And it's funny that he's, sometimes not everyone is what they seem. And this guy was not American. I do think it's a small echo of maybe we're not all what we appear to be.
Yeah.
Harry goes to Yuri's. Love this scene with Eric with his eye patch.
Yeah, he sort of dresses down Eric.
I love that.
Because Yuri's like, no, this guy's on your side. He also got fucked up by Ray. And he's like, well, listen.
The funny thing is Eric tells him the whole story. It's I was trying to rob him and I had, he took my gun. How did you think that this would be a good story to tell? that he would be like, oh yeah, that sucks. So yeah, you should kill him. But yeah, I think Harry is Harry sticks up for virtue and honor here too.
Yeah, because you think of the ultimate weak sauce to be fake threatening people with a blanks in your gun and robbing innocent people. You just don't.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's Ray is a fuck up, but this is a different level of fuck up. Exactly. A Bruges fuck up is a different level than a London working class fuck up. Yeah, he says, but don't change. I thought you wanted the guy dead. He's like, I do want the guy dead. I want him fucking crucified. But it don't change the fact that he stitched you up like a blind little gay boy does it. It's just impeccable logic.
All right. I have a sense that some of the homophobia is also a direct result of the abuse.
Yep. Totally. I think that's right. Yuri offers him Doom Dooms. You use that word, dum-dums, but which will make your head explode. And Harry literally says, I know I shouldn't, when asked, do you want some? He says, but I will. And that decision cost him his life. Like, because of that, like, he won't be able to tell that wasn't a kid that he shot. And so he will kill himself.
Yep. Again, just great writing. This is like tight. So tight.
Ken puts on a tie, to be prepared for his showdown with Harry. Yeah, this is great. Like, Harry's walking in the early evening. It's beautiful. And then they just have another unbelievable scene. It's so good. Harry and Ken. And it's really what the whole movie is about. And it's just also so funny. It's like when Harry finds out that he was trying to kill himself and what he did actually prevented him from killing himself. Like, he's like, this gets fucking worse. And then he does this thing where he orders a beer just with his, like, head. Yeah, and then they have the thing about the cunt fucking kids here. And yeah, it's just this is the moral debate of the movie. It's like, you kill a kid, that's it. He's like, I would have, like, Harry says, and you obviously believe him, and he proves it, that he would blow his head off at on the fucking spot. And then Ken says, but he had to have another chance. He's not like us.
Yeah, he builds the case for why he thinks Ray can be redeemed even though they can't.
Yeah. The debate is Ray in the category of Harry's cunt fucking kids, or is he in the category of them? And Ken is making the case that no, like, he can change. He's like your kids. They're probably going to be cunts, but they could be good. The kid can be good. Yeah. Like, it's like he feels like that's more important to him right now than anything.
Yeah, right. And did we learn earlier that it was Ken who brought Ray into the business to begin with? I think it might be in this conversation or in the phone. I think it's in the phone conversation, but he says, like, you brought him in, and look, where does the buck stop? Right. Like, if it doesn't stop with him, and he knows, like, it stops with me. Like, he's accepting the responsibility.
And he's sacrificing himself for the kid.
He's the Jesus. Yeah. He's London mobster Jesus.
Yep. Like, he's dying for both Ray's sins, but also his own sins, I think. So Ray's getting bailed out by Chloe. He's being bailed out by someone who loves him. I know that feeling all too well recently. We go back to the bar. I love now that they know the deal, they can joke around with each other, and they joke about Yuri and the alcoves. It's sweet. And then he says, let's go somewhere more private. And so Ray says the bell tower. And then you cut to the bell tower. You think you're going to see them, but it's actually Ray and Chloe. It's all gathering here, and they're walking together. It really is so nice. That's like the beginning of a romance. It really is, and it's not sustainable. Like, Ray's suicidal, and there are people trying to kill, but they still have this. It's like a great juxtaposition.
And here's where they encounter Jimmy, right?
Yeah, yes, in the schoolboy costume when they're sitting down at the bar.
Yeah. Which I guess is a traditional schoolboy uniform, but it just reminds me of the AC/DC guy.
Maybe. Yeah. And Jimmy he apologizes for the karate chop. That's a great scene. Yeah. Before that, Ken and Harry see the guy at the tower. And, this is, if you're going to be an asshole, like, there are going to be consequences for that too. And the guy in the tower is...
he should know better. Not enough street smarts to know that when a fucking psychopathic London mobster offers you £100 to let him in, that you just let him in.
I love Brendan Gleeson's face when he starts poking him in the forehead. He's like, he's like, the tower is closed this evening. Understand, Englishman? And then Brendan Gleeson's like, okay, I'm just going to walk up ahead here.
And all we see is the shadow, sort of like shadow box version of what he does. But we've gotten like a brief glimpse of what he would do, because he does the same thing to the phone in the earlier scene. But like,
the guy's just going to be beaten to a pulp. Every little choice you make as a person, like, it will have an effect.
Yeah.
I like that after Jimmy at first is like, I'd feel the apology was more genuine if you weren't laughing in my fucking face. But then he's actually sitting down with them. I feel like they're giving off good, warm energy.
They are, as evidenced by the way that they try to, like, bring Eric in later on.
That's right.
Eric's not having it, though.
Yeah.
I love how Jimmy is like bro, it was the cocaine, man. Like, it's such a classic sort of way to, I was saying some racist shit, but it's only because I was on drugs. And it's like, yeah, but you had the racist shit in you. Or else it wouldn't have come out.
And again, like Ray, like I could sympathize with this so much, is like, it is very funny. Like if you see somebody the next day, you're going to be like, oh yeah, but remember that? And then you see it like dawn in their face, like, oh man.
Yep.
And
That's
it's
actually
fun.
their one good moment that Jimmy has is when his face changes, when it dawns on him that he's, oh yeah, I was saying race war shit.
It's just so, like, I just love the touches like that.
Yeah. And then when Eric walks by and sees Ray and Chloe and they try to like wave to him and like bring him in, like, cause they're like you said, like they're in this good mood. He just like a little bitch goes and runs and tattles. Like he just immediately runs to find.
I would say he's like the one unredeemable person in the whole movie. Maybe also the bell tower guy, but even he had a code.
The bell tower guy is just, he just failed to distinguish between real shit and like, you know.
But Eric is just, there's nothing good about him. I don't buy that Chloe would have been, but maybe that's just what you have to deal with if you're a Belgian chick, you know.
But turns out you can go to Belgium to get a higher price for your pussy.
That's right. So Ken and Harry have at the top of the bell tower. They have a funny conversation about Bruges, and he's like, "Why it had to be in Belgium? Because if it was somewhere good, you know, it would be ruined."
It's so funny. It's so funny.
And then Ken like lays it out for him. He's like, "I owe you. Like, I love you. I respect you,
indebted to you.
I love that you have like your honor, but I'm not going to fight. Like, I think you have a right to kill me, but I had to do this for the kid, you know."
He puts his gun down, and for somebody like Harry, he's like, no, this was supposed to be a shootout. Like, we were going to do this fucking the right way. And now I can't. Like, I can't kill you. I can't kill you now. Like, after what you've said and basically disarmed yourself. So he does the only thing he can do, which is shoots him, I guess, in the thigh.
Yeah, or the knee or something. Yeah, like, it's like Harry has a vision of how this should go. And I think Ken is going against something. Like, he's in new ground right now, you know, but I think he respects Harry and owes him enough to be like, that's me. I can't drag you into it, you know?
You know, the way that I think about it is, like, I like how you said he's in some new territory here. Like, Ken has allowed his sort of moral imagination to take him to a place that people like him wouldn't have gone to normally.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was a failure of his moral imagination when he was just going to go kill Ray. That would have been just the same old. But something changed.
That's a great way of putting it. Like, like his moral imagination has expanded, and I think Harry just doesn't, like, that's not possible for him. His code is too strict. He can have no inconsistencies. That's like his fatal flaw.
His hobgoblin.
So Eric is the weak player of Bruges. Yes. So Harry's helping Ken down the stairs, which is nice. You know, he's just shot him, but now he's helping him. But then when he finds out from Eric that Ray's in town, he's back. Now Ken has to try to stop him, and he shoots Ken in the neck, I guess.
Yeah, they struggle, and he just, you know, he was, I'm sure, aiming for his head. But just got a shot off, and a lot of blood turned into liquid.
He says, "I'm sorry, Ken, but you can't kill a kid and expect to get away with it. You just can't. It's non-negotiable." You know, it's like, that's it. And, you know, that kind of hits hard in a time where children being killed is in the news. And, like, that's not an indefensible statement, right? You can't kill a kid and expect to get away with it. So now there's a montage of Ken going up to the top of the bell tower. You get this Irish song, this kind of perfectly mournful Irish song. Totally. He goes to the top of the bell tower. You get the sense that he wants to kill himself to warn Ray, and also to give him his gun maybe. But I love that he has those coins because he wasn't able to use them, and drops them so that there isn't more collateral damage. There's no more people
so people clear a path. Like, he doesn't want to hurt anybody. And I love that he's basically banking on that, like, he'll survive at least temporarily the fall to be able to warn him, and maybe even if he doesn't, that he'll see it and like know that some shit's coming.
He put his gun in his so that like hopefully that doesn't work out because the gun breaks, but you know, he could at least get the gun. And he does survive briefly in a grisly fall. It's actually like really violent and like it's unsparing.
Talk about turning to liquid. Like the moment of impact is basically the sound of liquid spilling.
Yeah. So then Ray goes over. He's horrified, obviously, and Ken tells him that Harry's there. He can't have the gun, though, so he needs to go back and try to get the gun from the hotel room. And like I said, I think this starting now is the only part of the movie that doesn't fully work for me, even though there's some good parts of it until the end.
So here's also where he sees that Ken knew he was dying because he left his last will and testament in the same place that Ray had left his suicide note. But okay, I want to hear more. So like it ends up, so they end up getting, you know, he has the standoff with Harry.
So the part where they're in the hotel room and it's very, you know, she's very noble, the innkeeper. She won't let Harry in. You know, she's the only Belgian that can stand up to Harry. But then when they have that conversation where it's like almost over the top, like they're two kids like trying to plan the thing. And when she says, why don't you just put your guns down? And Harry says, don't be stupid. This is the shootout. I feel like that's beneath the movie. Like to say that, you know, where there's not a false note. Like that was a false note to me. I don't feel like Harry would say that.
Yeah. Now that you say it, I remember being taken out of it a little bit in that moment. It obviously didn't bother me as much, but it is self-referential in a way that easily takes you out.
And we get that they're like acting like children in a way, but to keep being like, okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Like who says 1, 2, 3, go and all that. It's just a little bit. The subtlety is not there.
Yeah. It does work to show that fundamentally both of these people are stuck in childhood.
Yes. But then like the last scene is amazing, you know, where they go to the movie set and within this Judgment Day dream sequence, like...
Yeah, they've stepped into the Bosch painting.
You get a reenactment of that scene where it's the dwarf that was killed. And Harry shooting him like over and over again in a place where there could be people, you know?
Right. There was in the museum, one of the pieces of art that Ken is looking at, there's a guy whose basically head has been cut off by like, I think it's squashed between two rocks, but he's basically a headless person. And I was like,
Jimmy.
oh yeah, that's just very much Jimmy.
And it's because of the Doom Doom.
It's because of the Doom Doom. He shoots Jimmy. Then all he sees is a little body in a schoolboy's uniform.
What's he to think? And then he says, oh, I see. What do you think he means by that? Right before he puts the gun in his mouth, like he said he would do.
Yeah, it's just a realization that he now has to pay the price. Like, I don't know. It just feels like, oh, damn, I'm the one who has to like die. I see. Like,
so I think that's definitely one way, and maybe how I always viewed it. But then this time around, I also thought he could be like, for a moment, oh, so morality is a little more complicated than I thought it was. You know, like some of this stuff can be truly accidental, or you can get carried away doing the thing that you think is right. But then he's like, no, fuck it. I said, like, I can't, like, you can't kill a kid and get away with it. And so bang.
His failure of moral imagination costs him his life.
Yeah. And the Dum Dums.
I know I shouldn't. It's also just like Ray saying he knows he shouldn't punch the Canadian guy in the mouth, but he can't help himself, and that seals his fate.
Exactly. Which started because Chloe blew the smoke in their direction, you know, kind of just normal, inconsiderate, you know, I'm on a date, fuck these people, which is fine. But like these things can, you know. So then that last line, we don't know if Ray dies or not, but we get a voiceover. We had the voiceover at the beginning and it ends with the voiceover. There's a Christmas tree somewhere in London with a bunch of presents underneath it that'll never be opened. And I thought, if I survive all of this, I'd go to that house, apologize to the mother there, and accept whatever punishment she chose from me. Prison, death, didn't matter. Because at least in prison and at least in death, you know, I wouldn't be in fucking Bruges. But then, like a flash, it came to me and I realized, fuck, man, maybe that's what hell is. The entire rest of eternity spent in fucking Bruges. And I really, really hoped I wouldn't die. I really, really hoped I wouldn't die.
Yeah.
I think he does hope he wouldn't die, and I choose to believe that he didn't die.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because I couldn't help but feel Sunset Boulevardy.
Yeah.
As he's giving that voiceover. that he's sort of magically talking from after he's dead.
You can read it either way, because it is weird that he says, I hoped, like from the past tense, like I wouldn't die, like Sunset Boulevard. But it could also be him thinking of it in the hospital.
Yeah. 3 gut shots, but whatever. It's obviously open-ended.
Yeah, it's open-ended, and I think you can believe either.
Yeah.
All right. Anything last to say? We've gone so long, but
I don't think so. I think I've exhausted all my brilliant ideas about this movie. But I will just reiterate that it should be a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It should be on the list.
It's I love it so much.
I wonder how people in Bruges feel about this being called hell or purgatory.
Yeah, I don't get
Nobody
a sense.
thinks about the Bruges.
Do Belgians have a sense of humor about themselves? I don't know. I know they're the butt of French jokes, which has got to be tough. Get bullied by the French, All right. Join us next time on Very Bad Wizards.
The great boss has spoken. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Who are you? Who are you? A very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Good man.
They think deep thoughts, and with no more brains than you have.
Pay no attention to that man.
Anybody can have a brain.
You're a very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Just a very bad wizard.